We're going for it. I have faith. Don't doubt me. Whew! Did you see that catch? Welcome back to the shop, everybody. And if you watched my last video, you saw I took a bunch of random parts and pieces and I put together this air compressor. Just an old tank and an old compressor from the 1950s and a random 3 horsepower motor. And we have a working, running, albeit not that great compressor. And this video is gonna be about finishing this thing off. We have all kinds of goodies to install. I have a new pressure switch, aftercooler, gauges, fittings, doodads, and dingle hoppers, and all the stuff that we need. Dingle hoppers.
It's a dingle hopper.
Let me take you over here and show you some of the goodies. So I just stopped at my favorite store, Menards, grabbed a bunch of random quarter MPT stuff. This is the new pressure switch. The old one was working, but the contacts were terrible in it. This was about 40 bucks. This kicks out at 175, but it's adjustable. I'm gonna turn that down to about 160. And then I have this 175 pop-off, and I ordered a 180 also to put in another spot, so I'll have 2 pop-offs. Got a nice liquid-filled gauge here, a remote drain, so that elbow end screws into the drain in the bottom, and then you can bring this out, and there's a quarter turn valve there for me to manually drain the tank. Just reach down and, you know, spray that rusty water all over my nice shoes. And then this is just some 10-3 SO cord, or maybe it's SOOW, I don't know. So hopefully this like 12 or whatever feet is enough for me to make the couple pieces I need. And then of course I showed this in the last video, the Aftercooler that we're gonna use. It's 3/4 NPT. This is a Brunner compressor from like the 1950s. And I found their catalog, but none of these are actually the part number. So I can't figure out exactly which model this is. And when I try to search it, all the ones I can find the model number for are the 2-stage ones. You know, they come out of the one piston and back in to get secondary compressed. I have no idea what this is. I know it has a 3-horse motor, but that's not the motor it came with. So we are really spitballing on what our CFM is. Realistically, if it's somewhere around 15, 12 even, that's gonna be miles better than what I had, because that thing over there, yeah, that thing was like 3 or 4. It was terrible. So before we proceed any farther, I gotta figure out where everything is going. And there's one other thing I was a little bit irritated with. I got this check valve, but I'm trying to figure out what good it is to have 3/4 MPT if they're gonna have the check valve part be so damn small in there. It's smaller than 1/2 inch. The tip of my pinky won't even fit into that hole that's in there. So I haven't decided if I'm gonna find a better one of these or not. Well, anyway, I'm gonna sit here and figure out where this aftercooler is gonna go. And while I'm doing that, why don't you guys watch the footage of me building some custom mounts to get the belt guard on, because that was not done in the last video. I mean, it was done, but it didn't make it into the last video, so yeah. We are gonna see if we can't mock up this guard. So it used to be this way. Now we gotta flip it. So there's cutouts where there doesn't need to be, and there's not holes where there does need to be. But it seems like it's gonna fit in place pretty good. I gotta loosen this bolt right here because there was a bracket coming down that holds this on. So I will get that marked for these 2 holes, and that'll hold the first bit of it up, and then we'll just work from there. Might have been easier to start with the other one first, because this one's not gonna be able to hold it up. But you know what? This is the only one that has a home. Trying to keep the spacing right so there's enough space all the way around this and the belt never slaps it. But I got to figure out my in and out distance. I suppose we can kind of do that by seeing how far out the old holes were. So if I go about that far in and mark the first one, that should pretty well set my distance. About right there. So this was the main mount before. These 2 bolts and that notch caught the corner of this. So you can see those are tapered that way for this to be the motor side. So I can't flip it like that. If I turned it upside down, I mean, maybe I could notch that out, drop this down and drill new holes. Maybe that's the ticket. What's nice is the guard is still drilled for these, and I'm pretty sure if I just flip it, they'll still line up and it should locate this thing right. This is where it was located. I still have that hole and that hole. I'll have to make a cutout right here to match that one, and then drill 2 new holes. And that's what we need. That section gone and those 2 holes drilled. That was easy. Well, should be able to land roughly right in there. However much I cut off this kind of determines the height. That's pretty sturdy. Let's see, that's where it lines up. I need to go that way with it. Looks like it'll work. We're going for it. I have faith. Don't doubt me. What are you doing? What's the Jeep? You're gonna fix my Jeep? Well, no, you gotta get shoes on, buddy.
Get shoes on.
Hey, buddy. You wanna help me tighten this bolt?
I'm tighten.
Come here, I'll let you do this one.
Tighten.
Tighten.
I'm tighten.
Here you go.
There you go. There you go.
Can you push?
Push.
Okay, again. Push. Very good. All right, now come back. Other way. Push up. There you go. Oh, watch your fingers. Don't smash them. Good job.
What's that?
Give me up, top, bottom, pound, 5. You always forget the 5. Thanks, buddy. We're high on this side and low on this side, so maybe if I can just tweak this over. There we go. Trying to pull this out, and I got a wrench just kind of holding itself in there. There we go. I just need to get that back lined up. And I'm gonna try to find some spacers too, so that I don't have to pull this in. Whew. Oh, shit. That didn't feel so good. So I drilled this out bigger, and I put these bolts, and then those nuts are gonna act like a spacer, plus that'll leave this here, and then I just drilled this out to sit on top of it, and that should firm this thing up quite a bit. This bracket just has a little bit of flex in it, and I just, when it vibrates, I don't want it doing that. Let's see, that's what I'm talking about there. I decided I am gonna add another thing, so I just bolted this angle there, and I'm gonna push in on this till it's where I want it and weld that on there. And then I may very well do the same thing on this side. I have a lot less real estate, but when I pull in on that side, it pulls it away on this side, and that's kind of what I need. Oh gosh, yeah, I think I'm definitely gonna do this on both sides. That really makes a difference. That's all there is to it, Captain. And I just quickly did one on this side too. Welded it on there. Then I cut it smooth so the corners of that bracket weren't sticking out. I'm either gonna delete this bolt, or when I take it back off to put the belts and stuff on, I might just try to put a riv nut inside of that bracket where that nut is, because it's just a pain to get that all to line up. So if you guys are new here just because you saw an air compressor video and you're wondering about all the Jeep and the off-road stuff, that's kind of what my channel's about. I do Jeep things and off-road things, building things, that kind of thing. So if that's something that you're interested in, I suggest you stick around, hit that little free subscribe button down there, and come back and watch some more videos. So this is where the original gauge was, that port there, and obviously the guard kind of blocks that now. I'm thinking this thing's gonna go something like that. I don't know, I'll figure something out and you'll see what I pick. Well, I'm still unsure on the unloader, but I did figure out where I want the pressure switch, and I'm gonna tee into this 175 pop off. I'm gonna have a 180 and a 175, and I'm gonna try to shut this thing off at like 160 or 65, something like that. Figured I'd show you the guts of the pressure switch. It's very simple. Diaphragm pushes on this, contacts. Got basically line 1 in, line 1 out, line 2 in, line 2 out. And when it releases, it pushes on that little pronger right there. And that has a copper tube that goes to the unloader. So when that pushes, there's 2 little holes drilled in the side of this fitting, and it gives that air somewhere to go. Super simple. Let's go ahead and thread this on there. I didn't have one that size, but I wanted to space it off the tank a little bit. So I salvaged this off some of the old piping. It was full of gunk, so I cleaned it out real good, and for now, this is gonna work. That's pretty good. Gonna be a little trick to get my wires in right here, but I got some of those 90-degree conduit jobbers. I should be able to get it in there just fine. Get your finest hammer out. Whew. There's one. Don't quite know which way I need them to point yet, but I'm gonna guess it's up, because one side of this goes straight to the motor and the other one goes to this start-stop switch, which is this cord. Well, I kind of shit the bed on this one because I'm not going to be able to take these screws off with that there to do this. So I either got to pull it all the way back off and then unhook this wire from this end, connect it here, and then spin it with the wire. Looks like I'm taking her off up here. Well, if you've never done one of these before, take those screws off and this piece of the elbow comes right off. So you can just stick the wire straight through like so. And then you leave that insulation right there and put that piece back over. It squeezes that, which makes it all secure. Had to take this wire off the motor in because it's too close to the tank for me to do this. Put some spade terminals there, and I'll take the ground from the other side and put it there too, but I'll do that once it's on there. But this is all done, and now I should be able to get this sucker in there. Now that I see this though, that is way too sharp of a turn to get in there. But you can turn these boxes on the motors. You just loosen these 2 screws and there's 4 holes, so you can clock it any which way you want. So we're gonna clock it this way, and then she'll come right in the side like that. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, bud. The hole is your home. Get in your home. I think I'll just find me a wire clampy of some sort to put right there so this thing doesn't rub itself raw. Or maybe we'll just find a zip tie. We're not that classy. One down, one to go. Haha, I fooled you again. I am that fancy. Got a clamp, and there's a threaded hole right there. Just perfect. You know, I still haven't decided yet if part of me wanted to mount this on the wall over here, but part of me thinks it'd look pretty good right here where I just screwed that. I'm gonna move this. And now I can drastically shorten this. I literally only need like that much cable now. These are some pretty solid knockouts. Gotta be careful not to slice that inner insulation when you do this. I'm sure that's like powdered cancer right there. And what did I do with that pass-through thing? I'll shut the camera off so that I can find the damn thing. I'm just gonna get a little hole so I can clamp this baby down to there, and this part will be just about done. Now I just gotta shorten this guy up and put it here. Hiya! We'll call it right there. Best way to cut these without skimming the wires, just to barely score them and then like peel, like put pressure on it, and it kind of like peels itself open. I mean, I'm sure there's like some jumbo wire strippers that is the best way to do this, but this is the best redneck way to do it that I've found anyway. Just like that, this pressure switch is done, with the exception of putting this unloader on the back when I get to that part. Because if I was going to do this loop thing, I should have did it on that one too and followed it to make it look nicer. I'd still say it's a mostly clean install. Clean-ish. I put a second clamp on here because the cord was, not only was it rubbing this, but it was kind of rubbing the tip of this screw. And I tried to turn it straight, then it was just rubbing tips of both of them, and then I tried putting this little piece of rubber over the end of it, and I didn't like that. So I just double clamped it so that it holds it all away from all that stuff. I gotta figure out if that's NPT or if this was supposed to be a compression fitting. Maybe this one will work. Oh wait, here we go. Here we go. This one will work. Hell, let's see if she'll thread right in there. So now the other end of this just has to go. I've got two places I can put it: back in the top of the cylinder head, or I can put it to here. Didn't really show this part, mostly because I showed it in the last video, but I'm just attaching the plug to this newer cord. If we wanted to, we could actually fire it up and test it, but I don't have the air actually plumbed to anything. But I do need to test rotation still to make sure that everything I did didn't somehow reverse it. And I don't have the belts on anyways. You know what? Yeah, let's try it. And I wonder what that vibration was though. That does not sound good, brother. That's what it is. I guess I either gotta mount this on rubber bushings or the lid itself. We can fix that. You see the buttons vibrating? Well, like a dummy, I let the wireless microphone die, so the next few clips have no audio, but you can see here I put some like rubber, I cut little slices out of shock bushings and tried to put it in between the switch and the body. It helped a little bit, but not quite enough. I'll figure out something later for that. The next thing I ended up doing was grabbing the remote drain. I figured I'd get that mounted, done, and out of the way real quick. I noticed real quick these two pieces weren't tight, so I decided to tighten those up first because it'd be really hard to do underneath, and then we went ahead and threaded it in. At that point I realized it didn't come with any kind of a mounting bracket, but I wanted it mounted somehow, so I was just trying to figure out where I wanted to mount it, and then I went and found a bracket to make that happen. I found this piece of a bracket that had the perfect size hole. I was able to just run a tap through it immediately and then thread it right on the end of the drain to hold it in place. Then I decided it was going to go to the leg. I needed to cut the bracket in half, get the paint off of there, and then just kind of figure out the angle I wanted it at and put a quick weld on there. And honestly, it was probably the easiest part of this whole project. After that, I had to go dig through my box of random fittings so that I could cobble some way together to get this pressure gauge up and in front of the guard, so somewhere I could actually see it and where it was kind of out of the way. And this is what I came up with. I guess it works. So really the last thing I need to do is get the stupid aftercooler mounted, and I have gone around. There's like 6 places that I can make this thing work, and every one of them has an advantage and a disadvantage, and I'm kind of stuck in decision paralysis. So I decided I'm just gonna pick one and go with it, and if I don't like it I can change it later. So let me show you what we're gonna do. So I've already just kind of loosely put this on here. I am gonna shorten this up with a shorter nipple, and I'm gonna mount it offset back about right there. I've got this strip of metal that's gonna weld right across there and stick out, and I'm gonna drill holes in it. So that will be over about 2 inches to the right from where it's at, and then I'll have an elbow, and I'll probably use that stainless hose to go up to the tank, and then this side has to go to the pump. The only thing I really know is that I wasn't getting anywhere without just going for it, so we're going for it. You know, I really love my new microphones, but apparently there's a bit of a learning curve. You have to do things like charge the batteries and keep the cord plugged in. So the next 20 clips have no sound, so enjoy this little montage. In the Lost Audio, I explained a lot of what I'm about to do here, and one of the things was when I went to order another stainless hose, they had 20 inches and then all the way up to 40 inches. The only thing I could find in between that was double the price, so I needed to extend this piece off of the pump a little bit so that that 20-inch hose would reach. I can't believe that's getting by that. Whew! Did you see that catch? Good golly. We might end up using a shorter one here when the hose gets here. We'll find out. Looking for my tape measure, looking for my tape measure, looking for my tape measure. Well, shit. Does anybody else have this problem where every time you get a tape measure, you just lose it? I have like 5 of them. Cannot find a single one anytime I want one. I just used one last night while, oh, hey, maybe it's right there. I'm special. Well, that says 19 inches, but the fittings will add an inch plus on either side. So we are gonna end up having we're getting so close to done. All right, so now I gotta put this check valve down in there, and then this will screw into here. Okay, so up here, I decided I'm gonna run my copper tube to here because even the longer one is struggling to make it up there. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with these fittings because some of them are straight up compression fittings that have some pretty poorly done flares on the end of them. And then other ones are the other style of compression fitting that typically has the little brass sleeve thing that you smash. So I need that one to fit here. That's what's on this end. So I marked that. I'm gonna trim this. I'm gonna try my new flare tool. We'll get that hooked up. And then I will just leave the plug right there. And I've got a brand new flaring tool that's a different style. I have not even tried to use it yet, so I'm kind of excited to use it. I'll show it to you in a minute. Doing. Step 1, don't forget to put the stupid tube nut on there. Well, this is that new flaring tool I was talking about. It's for 3/16 and this don't want to fit through it, so I'm guessing this must be quarter. So I'm gonna see if I can dig out my old style one. It's been a while since I used this, so I think this is 1/4 inch line. I haven't done this in so long. Put that little guy in there. Ugh, it's looking a little rough. As long as it seals, I don't give a shit. And you put this guy on there to make it the rest of the way. She's looking rough. I don't think this thing is meant for copper tubing. Not that bad, but it sure kind of chewed up the side of this a little bit. She reaches. We'll stop while we're ahead there. I always have every wrench except for the one I need. If you want to call that clean, it's fairly clean install. So here's my concoction for this side, bush down to half for a little drippy leg. That goes to my little stainless hose. And the only other nipple I had, I found that other brass one I had, so whatever, it's gonna work. I thought I had some half NPT, but all I have is this section right here that was half. If I want to put my drain on there, it's either just one of these little short ones or just this goofy concoction. I'm kind of done caring at this point. The last piece I can do tonight is the hose. I haven't decided if I'm leaving this setup, but I put it on there. I'll need to find a little thing, and maybe I'll keep a little bucket or a little tray down here. I was thinking the same thing for the drain, but let's just take a look real quick. The other problem I'm seeing is this is pulled pretty tight. It's rubbing on this. It's closer to the wheel than I want. It's rubbing there, and it's under a lot of strain to make this bend. Come up with this and do a 45. Changes that angle, and that will like relieve this, and it'll give me more hose on this end. So all we've got left is this piece right here, and then it's ready to go. Super stoked, can't wait for tomorrow. All right, we got the hose, we got a couple more fittings, and we got my other pop-off valve. Let's finish this thing up. Hell, we got more than enough, but it would not have been enough to make it all the way to that elbow. This one is 180 PSI. This already had a 200 and a 175. I'm keeping the 175 and the 180. Forgot that I need to get into the pressure switch and try to turn it down to about 160 or 165. And then I also got a couple of longer 1/2-inch nipples. I got the 45 for this hose up here to take some of the bind off of it. Oh boy, this is the one we're gonna install there. Oh, that is so much better. It is very much touching my wheel now, so I gotta secure it. See, it's like almost kinking it, pushing that out. Oh yeah, I'm pretty confident in that. Oh, what a freaking fit. This is what I've got for this now. It's gonna put it down pretty low. I'm gonna put that there, and put that there. This is like super overkill. Depending on how much water this puts out, really it should all be catching in this, but it'll catch some. That's tight. There we go. Psst. Now I just gotta get this out of the wheel, because having that 45 on there really pushed it over this way. I think I need to break this and release the tension on there too. Yeah, there we go. See, that helped it untwist quite a bit. You know, it's sweet. I was able to get the belts on without taking the guard off. I just slipped them in from behind here, got them behind the bar, and put them on like the front side of the pulley, and it actually works. So they're on. I only have one thing left to do before we fire this thing up, and that is to play with this pressure switch, see if I can get it dialed down. I figured I'd show you this real quick, just since it's so easy and it's actually not hard to see. All you do is loosen or tighten this. Now this one doesn't have an adjustable differential, meaning if I raise where it cuts out, I'm also raising where it cuts in. So it just moves it up and down on a sliding scale like that. It's set at 175. I wanted it like 160, 165, and I don't know exactly how much. So I'm just gonna go a couple turns and then we're gonna start it up and see where it kicks out and adjust from there. 3, 4. I'm gonna leave this open for now and let's see what happens. Got them nervous. I'm pretty certain it's gonna work, but I'm just like, I'm nervous for problems. I don't want problems. This thing's still rattly. This thing's louder than the compressor is. I got a feeling she's gonna be a little slower than I originally wanted, but that's okay. We got 80 gallons here. Probably could stand to tighten these belts a little. Get rid of that, and this thing isn't too bad. I mounted some rubber in there, but it just isn't enough. Up to 85. I wedged a screwdriver in behind this lid and it kind of shuts up even more if I push on it. So I think I need to just tweak on this lid. Have any of you guys ever used those like rubber floor pads to set these on? Because you can feel it in the floor, shaking the floor pretty good. We're about 2 or 3 minutes in right now and we're at 95, so she definitely takes a while. Just gonna walk over to the other side of the garage. I mostly I want to see what the audio sounds like, and I have a lav mic on right there. Honestly, this is so much quieter than the old compressor. By the way, I can't wait for it to get warmer so I can ride this thing some more. Ooh, let's check out some temperatures. It's too hot to like hold on to, but oh yeah, you know what, that might almost burn you. Still pretty hot here. But down here at the, oh man, it's not ice cold, but that is literally half the temperature. See, all my lovely air tools that I never get to use. Anyway, that's the temperature out here. It's about 8 degrees outside. I've got the heater on, it's up to 50, just over 50. 125 there. Oh, the aluminum is holding the heat better. So 145, 150 on the top. 80 on the bottom. 60s. Talking 12 degrees above ambient temperature right there. So that should be enough time for this hot air to cool down and condense while it's in here. And I've got this running kind of downhill, and this thing should be catching water. Probably ain't gonna be that much just for as little as we've ran. And I've discovered my first leak. Can't tell if it's this joint or this joint, but I can definitely hear it somewhere. To be quite honest with you, I'm kind of nervous about this. Just home building this whole thing. It's like, is it gonna, you know, turn into a SpaceX rocket or what? Let's check these temps again. Holy shit, almost 200 there. Holy cow. Not bad. Over here where it goes back in, 73, that's about 20 degrees above ambient or so. All right, we're up to about 172. I shut it off because I don't want it to go any higher, because that is a 175 pop off. So I'm gonna unplug this thing and adjust this some more. Theoretically, it shouldn't start back up if I hit the start button right now. Oh boy. That's the pressure switch working, or the unloader. That is so slow. I thought it would be like, psh. Those holes are so tiny. And of course, now I don't hear this anymore because this whole thing just got discharged. There should be nothing coming out of here. Yep, at least that part works. I got a little leak going on right here. I even put thread sealant on that. This is just temporary anyway. This is where my air is gonna come out. I just needed to put something there to build pressure. Maybe these threads were just real junky. Okay, I don't hear it no more. I'm hearing another leak and it can't be in that, so I think it is on this side of my check valve. Guess I gotta go get some soap and water. Can you see that bubble on the left-hand side there? It's growing and it just popped. Well guys, I'm pretty stoked about this thing. It's got a few issues. I knew that was gonna happen. That's just part of it. Literally built this thing from a pile of parts. There's 3 things left that need done. 2 of them are gonna end up in this video. 1, I gotta fix the leak. I need to move it in the corner, and then we're gonna do a cost breakdown. And I'm gonna add up my receipts and stuff. And I'm gonna tell you everything that this costs. Now, if you watched the first video, you knew I was about $293 or something into just a working compressor. That was with none of the goodies, nothing. That was just the first hose. That was no pressure switch, nothing, just motor compressor. The tank was basically free. I've spent more than that $300 just in fittings and other stuff though. So if I had to guess, I'm gonna say $636. But still, you ever looked up one of these with an aftercooler and everything? The Quincy I was looking at getting was like $1,800 or something like that. So at the end of the day, if it ends up being slower than I want, I can still really easily get the biggest pump that motor can run and upgrade it that way if I choose. For now, I'm gonna fix some leaks. I'll come back at y'all with some numbers. I can't tighten that brass fitting anymore. I fear that I actually over tightened it and probably ruined it, and that's probably why it's leaking. I should have never used brass anyway. If I really wanted to take a bunch of stuff apart, I could put this one here and put that one there and put, or down below, and then put this in that one's place, and it would only raise it a little bit. It dawned on me there's something else I should have added to this. One of my PRVs, pop-off valves, should be somewhere between here and this system to here, because if that check valve ever fails and decides it doesn't want to open, then something in this side could just go absolutely nuclear. So for that reason, right here, I have this 200 PSI pop-off along with this other gauge and this T. And I think what I'm gonna do is go to the store one more time and get a bushing. I'm gonna fix this leak and install this at the same time. Hear me out. I'm gonna take this nipple and put it below the check valve. That'll raise it up a little bit. So then my check valve will be right here. Then I'm gonna take this long one and put it there. Then I'm gonna take this T and put it there. And then I'm gonna take this and put it in the side of the T, get a bushing, and install that up there. So it's like 3 birds, 1 stone, 1 more stupid trip to Farm and Fleet. All right, here is the redesigned. You can see this is up higher. That goes into there now. And all I need is a 3/4 down to 1/4 bushing to go to that. Took this apart and I used the goop on that leak. I used the goop on all that stuff, so hopefully that leak's done. And the only other thing I got is now moving that up and then getting rid of that angle. It gave me extra hose. Right now it's wanting to rub here and also there. I can't just leave this like that. It could pretty easily get into the wheel. This is Sylvie, the newest member of the household. She is a scaredy cat though. Some of y'all might remember the old supervisor, Katya, and she ran away last February, so that's the new one. 3 nights in a row going to the stupid Farm and Fleet. We got our 3/4 to 1/4 bush. Is this the right size per chance? That should do. And now we're back together. How about that? Yeah, I gotta do something about this. To keep this out of there, I made my own clamp. I took a piece of metal and just bent it into a loop because I didn't have another one of those padded clamps. So I wrapped a piece of shop rag around it, then wrapped a piece of Gorilla Tape around that, and then bent this piece of metal around it. So it's super firm. I mean, this part wiggles, but it should be fine. Here it is. I tightened this with this cheater bar. I don't know what else I can do to get that any tighter. And it's still freaking leaking. Hey, the pressure switch just kicked off. That's how slow my unloader goes. Look at this. Definitely got to do that. So we kicked off at 165 or no, about 167. Bleed off already. Definitely think I'm gonna try to drill that hole out some more. God, this shop is such a mess. I'm gonna try like hell to get that thing shoved through here without having to move my 9,000 pound table. Inched it over a little bit at a time. I hate that it blocks my YJ grill, but I really can't get any closer to the wall because of how I stacked this cooler backwards, giving it about a 2-inch clearance because of how I secure this thing. It's gonna walk a little bit. There we go. Brain fart, I guess. Where it's gonna live for now. I have no idea what I'm gonna do for building out an air supply. So earlier I said I'd do a price breakdown. I'm not going crazy through it. I'm just gonna tell you what it costs. It's pretty funny because if this was the Price is Right, I would have won. I just spitballed a guess, $636. You wanna guess what it actually was? $639.92. I can't even believe I was that close to it. I'll put this up on the screen if you want to pause it and read through it. It's not like 100% exact, but it's close enough. This is about a third of the price of like a semi-comparable compressor you might find like this, so I'm pretty stoked about it. Guys, I know these last couple videos are kind of a stretch for an off-road channel. Part of off-roading is building and maintaining the rigs, and part of having a shop means having the proper tools and sometimes air compressors to run those tools. And I thought I'd just use a little bit of my past knowledge to make something cool for less money than it would have cost. Hope y'all enjoyed it. If you didn't, sorry, but if you didn't, why are you still watching? It's now time to move this Jeep that way and move this Dana 44 out. We'll see you soon.